years I worked in the beauty business, and that's actually what brought me to New Orleans. I moved from North Carolina to Atlanta, and then moved to work with a company that's based right outside of New Orleans in the beauty business, and that's how I ended up here. And then, let's see, from there, kind of started a couple of different projects, and that's kind of the basic things about my background, I suppose. When I first started my blog, which was probably around 2011, I think, it was a Tumblr page first, and it was a Tumblr page of just like inspirational images, things that like I thought were cool. And over time, that was around the time that like the style blogs were really starting to take off. So over time, I had people that were saying like, you know, can you cover what's happening in the city? Like, can you give us like a behind the scenes look of what's going on? Also, what are you wearing? Things like that. So eventually it went from being a Tumblr page that was about the things that I found out on the internet that I found to be interesting to a page that was eventually moved into a blog that really became more of the things that I was doing and seeing and the people in the fashion community in New Orleans. And it's definitely evolved quite a bit since then, but that's how it started. It was probably in 2012 that, like a year into it, when I really kind of relaunched the blog, and then in 2013 I launched it under a new name, under the name that it is now. And that's when it really started to pick up. I started to get, like, right away, started to get some really great kind of press coverage about it, like people just talking about, you know, that it was a new blog that was kind of like a one to watch type of thing. So that's really when the traffic started to pick up. And then I had in 2015, so last year, Southern Living named it one of the best travel blogs, which was super cool. And the year before, they put me on their 75 stylish people in the South list, and the traffic really on those two things like bumped up tremendously because they've got such a great following. So it's kind of grown every year since then.
So
yeah, I mean, because there's so many blogs out there in the world now, I think there's a couple of things I think are important. Having, if it's a blog that's going to include photos, the photo quality has to be just impeccable. You know, people see so much stuff now out in the world that, like, if you're not putting out things that people want to stop and look at, they'll fly right by it. Like, it won't even occur. So I think, like, composition of photos, clarity, just really good quality photos is really important if it's going to be a blog that has a lot of photo content. And then from a writing perspective, like, I think the most important things when you're starting a blog is to figure out what your kind of formula is. Like, your tone, your brand voice is really important. But then to gain an audience, you got to do a lot of networking, just like you do in real life. I mean, some of the quick kind of like jumps I had in my audience was having other bloggers who were already kind of building their own audience talk about me, and then I would do the same back for them. So I think that's like networking, just like you have to do in real life to build, you know, to build your kind of personal brand. And there were 3 bloggers that I met that came to my events pretty early on. One, her name is Keiko Lynn. It's Keiko is her name, Keiko Lynn. And she's become like one of my best girlfriends. And she's got a great blog. So we became just great friends because we just, you know, got along so well. And she really inspired me to, like, you know, work a bit differently and like really take it seriously. And then there were 2 other girls I met around that same time. One, her name is Christine Cameron, and she has a blog called My Style Pill. And kind of the same thing, like, we became friends. She really was encouraging. And then then there's a third one. The blog is called Calla in Motion, and the girl's name is Lindsay Calla. And same thing, like met her around that same time. And all three of these girls were like making a living as bloggers. Right. So it was really fun to get to kind of meet people that were doing this early when it was like before blogs were even like becoming super, super popular. So how you are going to communicate with the world, that'd be the first thing. Like really figure out what works for you. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself and figure out how you're going to communicate. Two, be consistent. You know, there's so many people that put out blogs that are like, I'm going to do this. And then it's like they're not posting regularly. They're not sharing what they're doing and all the other social channels. So they're like saying, I'm doing this, but then they're not really creating a consistent approach to it. And then the third would be kind of what we were talking about a minute ago, like network, get your name out there by going out to events, talking to other bloggers on their blog, you know, just kind of putting yourself in front of people that are in the same kind of position and will be willing to help you along. My goal for 2016, well, I'm writing a new book, and so I am like super focused on that and just getting an opportunity to really travel and do a lot of kind of what I'm planning for the book on the blog as I'm building up to that. So just kind of, you know, continuing to grow creatively and professionally and building things that will support the project that's my big thing for the year.